today. So we have come to a program in which I give some ideas about what I have been doing in my grammar lessons, which I give in Sinhala so far. Today, if any teacher is watching this, I would like to talk about the concept of ideology that is necessarily a part of any language teaching. You would know by now that language is not just a collection of words. Every word is a concept. If you are familiar with Saussure's thought, it's actually a triangle. You have the word, you have the concept, and you have the thing in itself. So when you teach English, please tell your students that with every word, you are also giving them a particular concept. It's not very complicated when the words are simple. For example, the table and the chair, because it's a table is a table anywhere. But when you come to like words which are unique to a particular culture, then you realize that you also have to give them the knowledge of that concept before you even attempt to teach the word. At a very simple level, Eskimos, I have heard, have about 200 words for the word snow. In Sinhala, we have many words for paddy, goyang, hal, things like that, which we don't get in English. And if you are a translator, you will realize how stuck you can be. I translate and every day I have problems with words like hansiputua, because you can't really call it an armchair. You just don't get the whole concept of what we mean by hansiputua in Sinhala. So if you are a language teacher and if you are watching this, remember to tell your students that every time you teach them a word, you are also teaching them a particular concept. Now the reason I brought that up is, if you have been following my programs in Sinhala, you would have noticed that I have done 3 poems which dealt with one particular issue, which is the black-white problem, mainly in the USA but also in the Western world, where with Black Lives Matter and the civil rights movements, huge world currents have spoken up against the fact that black people are considered less or inferior to the white skin. I have spoken about this even in my first lecture, so I wouldn't go into the problem. Today I am going to talk to you about why I think it's important that we consider ideological issues, social problems, the way other cultures look at the world while we are teaching English. The reason is this: it's not that you should tell your students, please accept this way of thinking, because that is their choice. Whether they want to accept a very free woman or a very liberated woman, that is their choice. But it's up to you to show that this kind of thinking exists in the part of the world that speaks English. Because if you don't do that, what happens is they might know the language but make enormous mistakes in a world which uses that language naturally. So basically we come to the question, if you look at your students from the students' point of view, why are they learning English? They could be learning English to fit into the corporate world, to fit into a very Western thinking world. If that is the case, then it's paramount, it's of great importance that you teach them the ideology of that Western language speaking world with your teaching of English. Otherwise, they will be caught in a situation where they will immediately show that though they know the language, they will not know how to behave accordingly. Or you could learn the language like the way I want to. I like to read English, I like to listen to what's happening in that world, I like the ideological, theoretical concepts they are talking about, and I would speak English wearing dosari or the reddai hatte, and I always tell my students, you can use English with a sarong, you don't have to wear that tie and coat. This is why I have a fight with the tuition masters who advertise English with a tie and a coat and short skirted girls. Not really, it's not connected. right? So it depends on why you want to learn English. But if you're a teacher and if your students are learning this language to join the corporate world, please make it clear that not only the language should they know, they should also know the ways in which the Western world thinks about certain things. Let me give you an example. One of the things that I noticed on the internet, I think it was a Facebook thing, where this problem was very, very clear to me, where the two young girls had gone to a very well-known bank and had talked to a group of young boys, and they had gone to open an account, I think, of some sexual reproduction program, where you go to villages and talk about it. And they were furious because they said the moment we went, the young boys couldn't help giggling or making eyes at each other, and they were made to feel very embarrassed when the two girls had no reason to be embarrassed, because in the Western world, women who talk about reproductive rights, it's very common. It wasn't a cause for embarrassment for them, and they found it extremely demeaning that these boys did. So there I was thinking, that is a way, though they have joined the corporate world, they can speak the language, but they hadn't quite got into understanding how women who in the Western world don't find discussion about sex or reproduction embarrassing. So that was that clash. It was a cultural clash. It could have been avoided if while they learned English, they also learned that these are not things you laugh about. So if you're in a corporate world and you see somebody dressed in a very short skirt or something, and if you still think that's funny or deserves a comment, yes, you've learned the language, but you haven't learned the way normally a person who speaks that language would think or behave. So again, I'm saying that's your choice. I'm not saying the moment you learn English, you have to change your lifestyle. That is not what I'm saying. All I'm saying is you need to be aware that other cultures may think differently, and that might make your choice of laughing or giggling or not a more considered one. So I'm asking for more critical thinking, really, and that critical thinking you should learn with the language. And if you're a teacher listening to this, that critical thinking you should teach with whatever you're teaching, even if it's basic language. Now my program here, as you know, is through poetry. Literature through history has been the most powerful way in which ideology has been passed. The moment you read a book or you like a book, whether you like it or not, you've also absorbed the value system that work is giving you. So for me, it's very easy that's why I particularly picked a particular theme for my last 3 lessons on the black and white problem, because I knew consciously I was aware that I was giving you awareness of a problem that you should know is happening. Because no matter where you are in the world, even if you're only learning Sinhala, say, it's a responsibility to know what is happening in the outside world. Because if not, if we only know how our culture thinks, of the way our people in our culture act, you are at a disadvantage, because you need to be aware that is what education means, of the way other cultures think. And if you can, to respect that as well, because education is, I think, realizing you're not the only one who is correct. You might feel very passionately about it. That's a different thing. But also know there are other ways of looking at the world. You don't have to agree, but at least know them. So that even if you're fighting against something, you fight with awareness, not ignorance. That's a crucial difference. So while I teach, while I do my programs, I will try even in the future to bring some issues that are relevant to our world, so that while you learn English, you also learn about these other things. And as I always say, my programs on grammar, I'm only teaching you about it. It's up to you to practice it. It's up to you to use it. I'm just giving like 10% of information, practice and usage. The 90% you have to do it. Likewise, if I talk about the black and white problem, learn about it. What is it? What are the insults? What is it that we shouldn't say? How do you, like I did Maya Angelou's Still I Rise. Why is a woman talking like that? What are the ways in which you can demean a woman? Find out. Because now we have the internet, we have, you know, the Google, YouTube, everything. If you need to know something, access is very easy. Unlike in the past where you needed to read, everything is there. Only your interest is there. So I'm appealing to the teachers and the students, don't ever let that interest die. Because as you read, as you learn this language, please open yourself out to what's out there. And through that, your journey towards learning English will be made very much easier. Because they will deal with concepts like inferiority, they will deal with concepts like fear, psychological fear, why we feel bad, why we'll feel bad about the Sri Lankan accent, why we are trying to follow an American accent, what are the historical reasons for it. All this, know them, because through knowing them, your journey towards learning English will be so much more effective. Thank you very much.